When you meet your twin flame, you will know. You will know because they will trigger you like no one else ever has. They will trigger you to see parts of yourself that you have been avoiding your whole life. They will trigger you into seeing the deepest, darkest depths of your soul. They will trigger you into discovering parts of yourself that you never knew existed. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. Your twin flame is your divine counterpart, the other half of your soul. They say twin flames are two souls incarnated into separate bodies, separated for lifetimes in order to do the inner work, so to eventually come together. Your twin flame is the same soul frequency as you, so it's different to soulmates. A soulmate can be anyone from a friend to a family member to a dog. But your twin flame is your other half. I was motivated to do this, and I think this is one of my favourite quotes from twin flames. A twin flame is the one person whose love is powerful enough to motivate you to meet your soul, to do the emotional work of self-discovery, of awakening. And that's the thing, your twin flame will not just trigger your past traumas, your wounds, your karma. They will actually trigger you into a spiritual awakening, into the truth that's within your soul. This is why at the start of a twin flame connection, when you meet in the physical, it can be so difficult because one or both, well, usually it's both twin flames are going to be triggered. No matter whether you're the awakened twin or the twin that has yet to awaken, you're going to have some triggers. And this is it. They'll trigger you to see parts of yourself that you've been avoiding for so long. Your twin is your mirror soul. So you're coming face to face with yourself in another person. So when you meet them, it can lead to soul shock. This is because you're literally being faced head on with your flaws, with your demons. You know, you're literally seeing yourself in another person and you're seeing the parts of yourself that you've been hiding or avoiding for your whole life. Your twin will trigger you into seeing the deepest, darkest depths of yourself. And that's the thing, like, you know, whether you're going through an awakening anyway, or it was your twin flame that triggered your awakening, this is a massive shock to your soul. Because we've been living in that 3D mentality for so long. We've been living conditioned for so long. So not only are we being faced with our wounds from the past, you know, wounds that we've avoided healing, our traumatic childhood, wounds from past relationships will come to the surface, but also wounds from past lives. And that's the mind-blowing part, is you're not only faced with the traumas from this lifetime, you're faced with your traumas from every other lifetime. And that's the biggest trigger, is like you're you know, this person, this stranger, in a sense. Obviously they're not a stranger because your souls recognize and know each other, but this person is a stranger in the 3D. And this stranger triggers you into seeing parts of yourself that you've avoided for so long. So you kind of, this is where the blame comes in. This is where the runner-chaser dynamic comes in. Because usually the unawakened twin will be so triggered by this that they'll run. But because I'd done so much research on twin flames before I actually physically met my twin flame, I knew that the triggers that were coming in were supposed to come in. You know, even after 3 days of first meeting my twin in the physical, I had so many triggers come in, and I had a massive heart awakening after only a couple of days. Like, so can you imagine what it's like to not be aware of twin flames, not be aware of this triggering? Can you imagine a complete stranger making you feel or see parts of yourself that you've been avoiding? That's going to really fuck with your head. You know what I mean? Like, it fucked with my head and I knew what was going on. Do you know what I mean? When you don't know what's going on, it can be very scary. But this is the thing, like, we get triggered by triggers are guides. Triggers are our teachers. If something triggers you, especially from another person, it's a reflection. It's showing you what's within you that needs to be healed. So I believe the triggers are a blessing because it helps you to get to the very depth of what you need to heal, dig out all that shit, that trauma, that pain, and release it once and for all. So it is actually a benefit. But if you're unaware of this, you're gonna run. You're gonna be triggered. You're gonna be angry, there's going to be blame. You know, and often a lot of people we meet in our lives are going to trigger us, and that's the thing. But the beauty of twin flame triggers is there's that love. There's that remembrance of that unconditional love. There's that, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas, like, you know, with past relationships or with past triggers with other people, we kind of deal with them and we're kind of just go, we get angry with that person. We don't understand them. They're brief, but we don't do the work because nothing motivates us. And that's the beauty of that quote I said, is that the love that you remember for your twin is that motivator. So, you know, you get to the stage after the initial soul shock and the initial blame and the anger towards your twin as to like, fuck you, you making me feel this shit like. After that initial shock, that love that's within you for your twin, it awakens. And that's what motivates you to actually listen to the triggers, to actually do some of the work towards healing them, to actually face them. And that's the thing, you know, we go through many dark nights of the soul throughout our spiritual journey, and they're tough. Like, dark night of the soul is the deep spiritual depression. It's when all those triggers come in and you're faced with all of that trauma from the past lives, from this life. You're faced with all your karma, you're faced with all your pain, you're faced with all your flaws all at once. And it's a deep, deep, dark spiritual depression. And it's hard to see a light when you're in that depression. But there's something with the twin flame journey. There's something magical within the love that you feel for your twin, that you're kind of like, this is going to be worth it. If I do the hard work, it's going to be worth it. And that's the motivator. Whereas, like, you know, it's hard to have that, say if you're triggered by just normal people and you don't understand what triggers are. You know, you're like, I'm not doing this internal work. The avoidance. You know, our whole lives we're bottling up our emotions. Our whole lives we're avoiding healing. Our whole lives we think, right, if I just bury this, it won't affect me. And it will. When we bury our emotions, they end up like a pressure cooker. You know, it'll eventually going to explode because there's going to be no room for anything else. Like, you know, if we keep pushing down all our emotions, they're going to erupt like a volcano. And we spend our whole lives avoiding. But when we meet our twin, it's the only thing I think that motivates us into actually facing that stuff. It makes us see that, okay, maybe there is a reason, or maybe there's a reward for me doing this inner healing. And the main reward is to come to an unconditionally loving, accepting place within yourself. The main objective of twin flames, of this healing, is to love yourself. And that's beautiful. Like, you know, we spend our whole lives burying these traumas, these emotions that are triggered by our twin flame. But when we bury this, when we avoid it, when we don't heal that stuff, we're never going to love ourselves, because that stuff is what makes us feel shame. That stuff makes us feel guilt, self-blame. That stuff makes us feel unworthy when we don't heal it. And the beauty of when you're triggered by your twin flame is that you finally see that digging deep, doing the healing, is actually worth it. It's worth it because you eventually get to release that pain, release that trauma, and release that self-hatred. And that's what it is, it's self-hatred. When we bury all that emotion deep, we blame ourselves for our traumas, even though, you know, we weren't the cause of them, or we didn't ask for that, or we didn't do anything to cause that. We're blaming ourselves unnecessarily. But when it comes to meeting your twin, it gives you that light at the end of the tunnel. But it makes you know, it just gives you that, it makes you believe that there's something worthwhile at the end of all this pain. And what it is loving yourself. This is the beauty of it. Coming to a place of unconditionally loving yourself is the most beautiful feeling you'll ever get in your life. You know, you remember that love for your twin flame, but you are your twin flame. So to come to a place of loving yourself is actually re-remembering the love you had for your twin. But your twin is you. So then you're remembering the love you have for yourself and rediscovering that. And that is the beauty of it, to love yourself unconditionally, to no longer feel shame and blame and self-hatred for yourself, for your past or for your flaws. That makes the triggers worth it. But it is a hard journey to actually, this is why, like, so many things throughout the twin flame journey can trigger you. Seeing your twin flame online, or, because obviously when you go into soul shock or whatever, there may be separation. And there may be absolutely no contact whatsoever. So seeing your twin flames photograph, seeing them online, will trigger things in you. Or any kind of correspondence, if there is contact, will trigger something new in you. And because at the moment I'm not in contact with my twin flame, I will get triggers just from thoughts. I'll just be thinking about him or thinking about what happened, and I'll be triggered into more healing. And I get frustrated with this because, I'll be like, fuck off. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this shit. I'm not doing it anymore. But then a few minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm grateful for this because it obviously means that I have more stuff that I need to heal. And that's the beauty of separation, is that you need to prepare for union. You need to heal everything that's within you. They need to heal everything that's within them. You both need to come to a place of unconditionally loving yourselves first, and then you will come back into divine union. But this won't happen if you avoid the healing, or if you continue to blame your twin flame or get angry with them. And that's the part we need to overcome. Because I go up and down. 1 minute I'm like full of the love and all excited and all that kind of stuff. And then I get a trigger and I'd be like, fuck off, fuck you, I don't want to deal with this. This is just go away kind of shit. But a few minutes later, I will accept it and I will like, look, your triggers are your own. We have to stop blaming our twin for our triggers, because a trigger helps you to see what's unhealed within you. Like, a trigger has nothing to do with the external party. And we have to, and this is triggers in general as well, not just with your twin. We have to come to understand that our triggers are our own responsibility. Blaming somebody else for something that's within us is not right. And we go through this all the time with our triggers or our emotions or whatever. It's like, fuck you. You're being faced with something, so you blame the external party. But you have to say to yourself, what is this showing me? What is this trying to make me see, make me feel, and make me heal? Triggers are blessings. And that's the thing, as I said, after first meeting my twin flame in the physical, 2 days in, and I was fucking bombarded with these triggers. And I was just like, fuck shit, do you know what I mean? I don't want to deal with this. But I understood that it was parts of me that still needed to heal. And I'm grateful for that, because, even though I'm constantly consciously healing myself, a lot of stuff doesn't come to the surface unless we get a trigger. So, I think that we're never fully healed anyway, but I think I've healed an awful lot more than I realize until I get a trigger. And then I'm like, oh shit, there's a lot of stuff that's buried deeper than I thought, deeper than the deepest stuff. So I am grateful for these triggers because they help me understand what is next for me to heal. What do I need to face within myself? What parts of myself am I still hiding from or avoiding? Or what parts of myself are I still buried deep within? So see the triggers as a blessing. Don't blame your twin for the stuff that's within you that needs to be healing. And the beauty of it as well, a lot of the time your triggers are mirrored. What you go through, your twin goes through. So when you do the healing, that will telepathically help your twin heal simultaneously. So your healing benefits both of you, but you need to concentrate on yourself. You need to go within, you need to understand that triggers are your responsibility. So stop blaming anything outside of yourself. Stop blaming your twin for your triggers. That's your motivator. It's a blessing. It's a guide. It's a teacher. Your twin flame is your biggest teacher because they show you the parts of yourself that you need to heal. And it is beautiful. It's hard to do the inner work. It's hard to do that inner healing. But it is so beautiful to feel love for yourself when you shed those layers and layers of trauma and self-hatred and self-blame. So see the triggers as your guide, the triggers as your teacher. Don't blame your twin flame for triggering you, because these are your responsibility. Be grateful that these triggers are coming up, because every time you get a trigger, every time you heal that, the reason for that trigger, it brings you closer and closer to your union. So trust the process, trust the divine timing as at play. The triggers are divine intervention for you to help heal yourself and heal your twin simultaneously. And this just brings you closer to your union. So understand, whenever a trigger comes up, it's actually a step closer. Once you heal what's within you, it's a step closer to union. And, eventually you will no longer have any triggers, because you will have healed what you need to heal in order to come into union. So don't blame your twin, and don't blame anything outside of yourself. See the triggers as your guide, your teachers, and, showing you what you need to heal next, so that you can go one step closer towards divine union with your twin. So trust this, and trust it's a beautiful journey of self-discovery. You will discover parts of yourself that you never even knew existed, or you forgot existed. And that's the beauty of it as well. We might be digging deep through a lot of dirt and trauma, but we're also digging up stuff to uncover something beautiful and magical. So trust that. There is absolutely a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is magical. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.